To answer the question, how to think Christianly, it is imperative that we understand that there is in fact a unique way Christians ought to think. We can call this the Christian mind. We sometimes speak of the modern mind or the scientific mind in contrast to that of the primitive or archaic mind. In this manner, we refer to the distinctives of a certain collective way of cognition that arises out of shared presuppositions and categories. It is in this sense that we can also speak of a Christian mind. True allegiance to Jesus Christ demands of the whole person, including one's intellectual life. The greatest commandment, says Jesus, involves loving God with the use of our minds. Paul also reminded the believers in Rome to be transformed by the renewal of the mind. How does this mind operate? David Gill states in his book, The Opening of the Christian Mind, having a Christian mind means that in every situation, we try to think from the perspective of Jesus Christ, acknowledging Him as Lord, Savior, and God. It means subordinating and integrating all truth to the truth, all facts to the facts, all values to the value revealed in Jesus Christ. Harry Blamires in his influential book defined the Christian mind as a mind trained, informed, and equipped to handle data of secular controversy within a frame of reference that is constructed on Christian presuppositions. The Christian mind is the prerequisite of Christian thinking, and Christian thinking is the prerequisite of Christian action. Further, he adds, there is nothing in our experience, however trivial, worldly, or even evil, which can't be thought of Christianly. Sadly, there is an evident crisis of the Christian mind today. Many Christians live out their days with an almost schizophrenic experience, unable to maintain unique Christian intellectual identity in their particular spheres of involvement within a secularist society. They install their Christian mind on Sundays, but replace it with a secularist, naturalist, and humanist mind during the rest of the week. Their Christian faith is relegated to the moral and religious aspects of life, but incapable to engage all the other fields of human culture. This predicament is lamented by Blamires, again in his book, saying, the mental secularization of Christians means that nowadays we meet only as worshipping beings and as moral beings, not as thinking beings. We agree that it is right to be present on the Lord's own day in the Lord's own house. We agree that it is sinful to commit adultery or to slander our neighbors, but we cannot meet as thinking Christians over the controversial political, social, and cultural issues whose airing constitutes the vigorous intellectual life of many, both inside and outside the church. If not the compromise of the Christian mind by secularization, the response of some other Christian circles has been one of sheltering, what Puritan John Milton called a cloistered virtue. Their orthodox and fundamentalist complacency has rendered them impotent for a dialectical relationship with the ideas of the world. This is not a trait of a strong faith in the veracity of God's revelation. For one, the Christian ought to understand that all truths are God's truths. Whatever truth is presented in the world of nature, even if discovered by unbelievers, will only serve the credibility of the Christian faith. Augustine says in a passage from his On Christian Teaching, if those who are called philosophers have said things which are indeed true and well accommodated to our faith, they should not be feared. What they have said should be taken from them as from unjust possessors and converted to our use. A similar sentiment was expressed by John Calvin. For since all truth is of God, if any ungodly man has said anything true, we should not reject it, for it also has come from God. The recovery of the Christian mind is a project that we are uniquely situated today as Christians in a secularist environment. In a sermon during World War II entitled Learning in Wartime, C.S. Lewis encouraged college students to pursue their education in spite of the ongoing crisis. He said, "To be ignorant and simple would be to throw down our weapons and betray our uneducated brethren who have under God no defense but us against the intellectual attacks of the heathen. Good philosophy must exist, if for no other reason, because bad philosophy needs to be answered."